In the dim glow of a rundown diner on the outskirts of a forgotten industrial town, where the rain-slicked streets reflected the flickering neon sign that buzzed like a dying heartbeat, a single father named Jack clutched a crumpled $5 bill in his trembling hand, staring at the menu as if it held the weight of the world. His little daughter, Emily, barely 6 years old with wide eyes that still sparkled with innocence despite the shadows of hardship, tugged at his sleeve, her tiny voice whispering about hunger that gnawed at her belly like an unrelenting storm. Jack's heart shattered in that moment, knowing that $5 wouldn't stretch far enough to fill even one of them properly, let alone both, and as tears welled in his eyes, hidden behind a forced smile, he wondered how much longer he could shield her from the cruel reality of their life, a life stripped bare by loss, debt, and the unrelenting grind of survival. If you believe in the power of kindness and second chances that can turn despair into hope, hit that like button, drop a comment below sharing your own story of unexpected compassion, share this video with someone who needs a reminder of humanity's goodness, and don't forget to subscribe to Moments of Love for more heartwarming tales that restore your faith in the world. Jack had once been a man full of promise, a skilled mechanic in a bustling factory that promised steady work and a future for his young family, but that dream crumbled when his wife, Sarah, was taken by a sudden illness that no insurance could cover, leaving him drowning in medical bills that swallowed their savings like a black hole. Nights blurred into days as he juggled odd jobs, fixing cars in back alleys, delivering packages until his back ached, anything to keep the roof over their heads in the cramped apartment that smelled of damp and regret. Emily, with her curly hair and infectious laugh, became his anchor and his ache, her questions about mommy piercing his soul like shards of glass, and every evening he would tuck her in with stories of better tomorrows, even as eviction notices piled up and the pantry grew emptier. The diner that rainy evening was a last resort, a place where he hoped to buy her a simple bowl of soup, perhaps splitting it between them, his own hunger a familiar companion he could ignore for her sake. As they slid into a worn booth, the vinyl seats cracked and sticky from years of weary patrons, Jack scanned the room, noting the sparse crowd, an elderly couple sharing coffee in silence, a trucker buried in his newspaper, and at the next table, a young man in a sharp suit, typing furiously on his laptop, oblivious to the world around him, or so it seemed. The young CEO, Alex, was no stranger to success, having built his tech startup from a garage dream into a multi-million-dollar empire by the age of 28, his days filled with board meetings, investor calls, and the relentless pursuit of innovation that left little room for personal reflection. But on this particular night, fate had pulled him off the highway into this humble diner, seeking refuge from the storm and a quiet spot to review his latest acquisition deal, his mind racing with figures and strategies that could make or break fortunes. Yet, as he sipped his black coffee, his sharp eyes caught the subtle drama unfolding at the adjacent table, the father's hunched shoulders, the way he counted coins with deliberate slowness, the daughter's hopeful gaze fixed on the laminated menu featuring greasy burgers and fries that might as well have been gourmet feasts. Alex felt a pang in his chest, a rare intrusion of emotion into his calculated life, memories of his own childhood flashing before him, orphaned young, raised in foster homes where kindness was scarce. He had clawed his way up, vowing never to look back, but now, witnessing this mirror of vulnerability, something stirred within him, a quiet resolve to intervene in a way that could rewrite someone's story. As the waitress approached Jack's table, her apron stained and her smile weary from a long shift, Jack ordered the cheapest item, a small cup of soup and some crackers, his voice steady but his hands betraying the shame that burned like acid in his throat. Emily's face lit up momentarily, but Jack saw the disappointment she tried to hide, her small frame curling into itself as if to make her hunger smaller. He pushed the $5 across the counter, receiving a handful of change that felt like mockery, and as they waited, the rain pounded harder against the windows, mirroring the storm raging in his mind. Thoughts of tomorrow's job interview, the landlord's threats, the fear that social services might deem him unfit and take Emily away, the one light in his darkening world. Alex, overhearing the order and piecing together the fragments of their whispered conversation, felt his resolve solidify. He wasn't one for grand gestures, preferring data-driven decisions, but here, in this unassuming place, he saw an opportunity not just to help, but to heal a part of himself he had long ignored. Discreetly, he signaled the waitress, slipping her his credit card with instructions to cover their meal and more, his voice low to preserve the father's dignity, a small act that would soon cascade into something profound. The meal arrived transformed, not the meager soup Jack had ordered, but a platter of warm pancakes dripping with syrup, fresh fruit, eggs sunny side up, and a side of bacon that filled the air with savory promise, the waitress explaining it as a special from the house, with a knowing wink that Jack, in his exhaustion, didn't question at first. Emily's eyes widened in delight, her laughter bubbling forth like a spring after drought, and as they ate, Jack felt a rare warmth spread through him, the food nourishing more than their bodies. It fed the fragile hope that perhaps the universe wasn't entirely indifferent. But as the bill never came, and the waitress returned with to-go boxes packed with extras, whispering that everything was taken care of by a kind stranger, Jack's gaze followed hers to Alex's table, where the young man met his eyes with a nod that spoke volumes of unspoken understanding. Overwhelmed, Jack approached, his voice thick with emotion as he thanked the stranger, learning in that brief exchange that Alex had not only paid for the meal but left enough cash tucked under the plate to cover a week's groceries, a gesture born from empathy rather than pity. From that night, the ripples of kindness began to spread, altering the course of Jack's life in ways he could scarcely imagine. Alex, moved by the encounter, invited Jack to his company the next day, offering him a position as a maintenance supervisor where his mechanical skills could shine, a job that came with benefits to ease the medical debts and stability to rebuild. Emily flourished, her drawings of that diner meal becoming symbols of miracles, and Jack, for the first time in years, slept without the weight of worry crushing his chest. Alex, too, found transformation, the act awakening a philanthropy arm in his business, funding programs for single parents in need, turning his empire into a force for good that echoed his own redemption. Their paths intertwined, forging a bond like family, with shared holidays and milestones where laughter drowned out past sorrows, proving that one moment of compassion could ignite a chain reaction of hope, mending broken hearts and illuminating futures once shrouded in darkness. As the story of Jack and Emily draws to a close, leaving us with the profound reminder that even in our busiest lives, a single act of kindness can change everything, I hope it has touched your heart as deeply as it has mine. If it has, please like this video, comment with your thoughts on how kindness has shaped your life, share it far and wide, and subscribe to Moments of Love for more stories that celebrate the beauty of the human spirit. Before we end, I'd love for you to comment below with the line, "Kindness changes everything."